Hey, Redcasters, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. Go Big Red. Well, let's move on to the position that has received a lot of recent discussion. Obviously, we just lost Xavier Betts, wide receivers. As we go down the list here for seniors, we have 3 seniors here. Joshua Fleeks, who got himself lowered enough weight to get back into camp.
He's in shape.
He's in shape again. I wish I could get in shape that quick.
I could kick Honky off the podcast. He's overweight. He'd never come back. No.
Now I appreciate
My Lord.
if I could drop weight that fast. I need the Joshua Fleeks, weight loss plan.
No kidding.
Billy Kemp, obviously he's one of the single-digit players, so he's going to be. If we're in a 2-receiver set, he's going to be on the field more times than not. Out of that, Marcus Washington, he's gone in and out of some injuries there. Isaiah Garcia Castaneda, IGC, and then he's the junior, and then the rest are all freshmen. So Demetrius Bell, Jeremiah Charles, Malachi Coleman, Jaden Doss, Jalen Lloyd, and then Bryce Turner. All of them bring some different skill sets. And this is a very specific room, too, that we should note. I didn't include them because they're not scholarship players, but Ty Hahn and Bullock. These are a couple of walk-on guys, and that's a position where when you look at, Brandon Riley or the Todd Petersons over the years, we've had guys play meaningful minutes and be able to do things at the wide receiver role that weren't scholarship guys. So let me start with you, Kyle. I guess as you look at this roster here, these 10 guys, what sticks out to you?
I mean, we've said it over and over again. Like Connor said, we've talked about who's the dogs on the team, right? And so the number one guy that seems to keep popping up for us, and I mean, like we mentioned, Michael Severe, Billy Kemp is the guy that we keep pointing to as like your mustache, your guy that's going to go out there and he's going to get you your first down. Like he's your guy that's going to go out and he's going to just be solid when you need him, right?
It's a dog.
Yeah, but I mean, it certainly doesn't help. We talked about on the boat pod this weekend about like losing Xavier Betts and like how crazy is this, or like how bad is this? And to be honest, we were like Mike's point was it's really not a huge deal. Like I don't know if it was talking about is Xavier Betts going to be the game changer this year, right? Like we have 3 guys up here that are seniors that have played serious time at different universities, albeit at different schools, but at the same time, they've played serious college football. So it's not like that's something that sticks out to me is that you've got 3 guys up there that are seniors and have played actual time around college football.
Well, Mike, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Okay. So we've talked about there's going to be some formations we get out there, a lot of formations where it's 2 wide receivers on the field.
Mm-hmm.
We all will look at this and say Kemp's number 1. So, I mean, as you look at this list, who do you think number 2 is? And I guess a side question, was Xavier Betts that number 2 before he left?
No, I think number 2 is no doubt Marcus Washington. That he's like the definition of no block, no rock. He's the type of guy that's going to go out there. He's going to go put his body on the line for his team. And last year with Casey Thompson at quarterback, and granted they had chemistry from Texas, horns down. But I will say that like, if you needed a guy to go get you a ball on 3rd and 6, Marcus was that guy. He was the guy that was going to go get those 6 yards. He was going to run to the sticks and he was going to catch the ball. And he had some drops here and there, but the guy, he was reliable. And I think Marcus Washington, when healthy, will be your number 2. And then Billy Kemp, I think they could really fit well with each other. But you get that the shorter, quicker guy, and then you got Marcus Washington, who's a kind of a bigger body. So,
Dave, let me ask you this question. We talked about on the running back side, we talked about which guy do you put in when, early, late, who's the short yardage, all that. How would you, looking at this receiving core right now, are there ways to differentiate who is your breakaway speed guy? Who's your jump ball guy? Who's your blocking guy in a 3rd and short and you want to have receivers? Do you kind of look at this crew and divide them into those kind of segments?
Yeah, well, I think that's tough because there's enough unknowns out there, and I think it's nice to think of Billy Kemp as just a plug and play, like the transfer wide receiver that's going to come in and contribute and be our wide receiver 1, right? Like he's not Trey Palmer, that's for certain, right? I mean, like Trey was able to rip the top off of defenses, and Marcus Washington benefited to the tune of almost 500 yards of catching those passes underneath, right? Billy Kemp is not known as the deep ball guy. He's caught more passes in Virginia football history than anyone else because he catches the short under stuff and gets the first downs. So I don't know who on this team, because of Betts being gone, who exactly is going to rip off the top. Now, what we saw from IGC, actually, I mean, he was promising. He did have some drops, so maybe he could be the guy that could stretch that a little bit. Obviously, in the future, Malachi Coleman could clearly be that guy, but is he ready right now? Probably not. Jaden Doss is a freshman that has played a lot of football down in the KC area. Maybe he can contribute right away. I'd like to see if some of these freshmen can fill some of those roles. From a blocking perspective, I don't know.
Which freshman do you think is most likely to step up and have the most immediate impact in the wide receiver room?
Rob, you haven't spoken in a little while.
I think Malachi is. I think Malachi is the guy. He yesterday. I'll reference the.
Hey, folks, did you know that Rob listened to the press conference yesterday?
Yeah, I did. But he did. Malachi's name probably came up half a dozen times in that press conference yesterday. And I mean, if you look at him and you look at his size and everything else, take away freshman, sophomore, senior, junior, everything, and you look at his size and his weight, and he, there's some guys on there that are freshmen that are 160, right? 5'11", 160, 6'2", 160. Malachi's 6'4", 185. And he put probably about 20, 25 pounds on in muscle in the off season. I know this for a fact. And he has been bought into the actual system for the entire, he started coming on campus in the spring, doing all the workouts with the team, would hit the gym pretty hard during the summer, the training room. And so he's the guy. I really do. I mean, he's had his nose in the playbook almost his entire senior season since the minute that he committed to Rule. So there's absolutely nothing to say that he couldn't go out there and perform this year.
I actually agree with you, Rob. I think he's the most likely candidate to do that. I just don't know if he's going to be ready on game one.
No, and I'm not,
because I mean, he hasn't played as much football, I'd say, as maybe some others. And so he's going to have to be developed a little bit, I think, and brought along. Huge potential there. Completely agree with you. Excited to see what he can do. I do think maybe we don't need as much the guy. I mean, there was a good comment that just post Boomer, I think, just brought it up of it might be a little bit more of a dink and dunk offense. I mean, we may, since if we're going to run the ball and establish a line of scrimmage, maybe we don't need as much. And maybe we just need someone who can take a shot every once in a while. And that might be someone like IGC who can, take advantage of a play action, get past that safety and make the catch.
Kyle, we may need you to come up with some sound thing for Dave. Just said he agreed with Rob. So
right.
We need a button.
Pretty rare.
Yeah.
I need to get a soundboard is what I need. And I'll just
we need a soundboard. But also to Dave's point too, sometimes we get so focused on just a position. Oh my gosh, if we don't have somebody to take the top off from this group, what's wrong? And yet when you watched the Sunday night show that came out on YouTube, a look in, and all about situational football. And there is Coach Rule talking to the offense and defense. There's a minute and 15 seconds. You're at the 35, blah, blah, blah. And who took the top off? Who made the big catch? It's not a guy from this list. It was Fedoni.
Yep.
And it was a tight end. And so maybe somebody comes from that group too. There's just what I want to see. This gets back to that creativity word. When I would get frustrated a year ago because we'd line up in one formation and always have the same personnel grouping out there. We could never figure out a way to get two backs on the field. Could never figure out a way to get, two tight ends or whatever it was. That was frustrating.
Yeah.
And so what I see is there's a lot of options here. Let's figure out ways to get different personnel groups out there. Let's figure out a way to get, if you got a great talent like Harburg, let's figure out a way to get him out there. My hot take on the opposite side would be Harburg getting him out there on the field and getting him snaps is the thing that keeps him here, as opposed to sitting on the bench and not getting snaps and just being a backup quarterback. Maybe that's the way to do it. But they can't just be junk plays, and he's got to be good at what he does. I mean, if we just saw one catch, that's one thing. But if he actually makes a catch, and Bacum in your court was a receiver for us, and he's catching touchdowns. Okay, if you can do that, and then next year you're playing quarterback, more power to you.
Yeah, I think just kind of a concluding point here is Purdue did not beat the hell out of us last year by taking the top off our defense. And that was a great point. I saw it come up across the screen here, and it was you know what? If you don't have that, no problem. Scheme it up.
Yeah, dink and dunk, clock
dink and
control.
dunk.
Dude, listen, we had
Nebraska's best ever deep threat of all time last year. Literally, Trey Palmer, who is showing at the next level, he might be okay. What was Nebraska's record last year?
I don't want to talk about it.
Like, this is kind of the opposite. We got Billy Kemp. He's not going deep. Okay, he's going to run your 7-yard routes, whatever. You know, I look at this list. Okay, there's 10 guys there. 6 of those guys are true freshmen. Joshua Fleeks I don't think he's going to contribute. Okay, just my opinion. I would agree.
So you're looking at Billy Kemp, Marcus Washington, IGC. IGC, I'm skeptical. You know, on the look in, that whole Hard Knocks thing, they had a thing on him. Awesome. I hope expectations are low for this room. That's my concluding point. People can talk about Malachi Coleman. Great talent, I am sure. But I am not expecting him to go out in Minnesota and catch even 3 balls, okay? And maybe this moves on to our next position group because I think this is going to be the group that is the most important. But Connor wants to talk.
It's very quick. But the one thing I love most are low expectations. And that sounds negative.
That's me.
No, that's
That
great.
sounds negative.
No, it's great. I love it.
Sorry, Rob.
No, it's good. I mean, everyone has low expectations of me all the time, so it's okay.
Yeah.
That's very. We could use a soundbite for that. I completely agree with that. And right now, I feel the same way about the running back spot. Somebody will probably step up out of this. There's going to be a freshman because there's 6 of them. Probably one of those freshmen is going to step up and have a great season, and we don't see it right now. It happens at every other school.
Sure.
And nobody blinks twice. So
Hey, why not us?
Why not us? And I'll tell you what, if Malachi Coleman was playing at Georgia right now, we'd all be saying that guy's going to be a killer. He's going to destroy the SEC because he went to Georgia and we lost him, right? It's only when we get him we're like, oh, we're nervous about it. I don't want to throw too much on him right away. Can he be a situational player in the first couple of weeks and work your way into being more than that?
Develop.
Sure. Develop.